An unseen predator. A trail of fear. Every clue hides a darker truth. Will you uncover it? The ghost killer is watching.
Willow Creek was no stranger to mystery. Nestled deep in the woods, it was the kind of place where legends lingered in the mist, and whispers traveled faster than the wind. But nothing prepared its residents for the horrors that began one chilly autumn night, a series of bizarre and unexplainable deaths that sent shivers down the spine of this quiet town. Each death seemed connected to a dark, unseen force. The locals, desperate for answers, began calling the unseen assailant the ghost killer. The first death came with the subtlety of a cold breeze. It was Rachel Thompson, a 37-year-old nurse, found dead in her bed. The door to her room was locked from the inside, and her face was frozen in an expression of sheer terror. The autopsy revealed no sign of physical harm, no poison, no injury, nothing. All that lingered was a strange scent of damp earth in the air, as if the grave itself had opened up beside her. The next victim was David Miller, a retired police officer and a man well known for his stubborn skepticism of anything supernatural. He was discovered sitting in his backyard, clutching a broken locket. His mouth was slightly open, as though he had been trying to scream but had never managed to make a sound. This time, there were faint symbols traced in the dirt around him, symbols that seemed to shift and fade as the investigators approached. Was it a warning or a taunt? As news of the deaths spread, fear gripped Willow Creek like a vice. The town's narrow streets became deserted by dusk, and people began hanging talismans outside their doors, crude charms meant to ward off evil spirits. But each new death was more bizarre than the last. Bodies were found in their homes, windows bolted shut, doors locked, with no signs of forced entry. Yet, in every case, the air carried a peculiar chill, as if the temperature had plummeted in the victims' final moments. In a town that thrived on folklore, rumors swirled like leaves in the wind. The ghost killer, they said, wasn't human at all, but a vengeful spirit bound to the town by some ancient curse. Witnesses described fleeting shadows darting through the fog, whispers that echoed without a source, and a growing sense of being watched. Yet, none could provide a solid lead. Desperate to find answers, the police brought in Emma Lewis, a local psychic with a reputation for seeing beyond the physical world. Emma claimed to feel a cold presence lingering near the victims' homes, something ancient and hungry for fear. She warned that the killer wasn't just taking lives, it was feeding off the terror it created. But her visions were dismissed as mere theatrics, even as she described the ghost killer in vivid detail, a tall, shadowy figure with hollow eyes, watching its victims as they took their last breath. Then came the strangest clue of all, a set of cryptic symbols that appeared near each crime scene. Drawn in dust, traced in condensation, or scratched into wood, these symbols were neither random nor familiar. The town's folklore expert suggested they might be part of an old ritual meant to summon a spirit or bind it to a specific place. Could this be the ghost killer's calling card? Or was someone using the town's fear to mask more sinister motives? As the body count rose, the victims' pasts began to unravel. Rachel Thompson, the nurse, was discovered to have a connection to an unsolved hospital case where a patient had died under suspicious circumstances. David Miller, the ex-cop, had a checkered history involving cases he'd tampered with to protect certain influential figures in town. The third victim was Julia Brooks, a local teacher who had once been embroiled in a controversial custody battle involving accusations of neglect. She was found dead in her classroom, her body arranged as if she had been praying, with a circle of salt surrounding her. Salt was believed to ward off evil, but in this case, it had done nothing to protect her. The next victim was a drifter, Sam Granger, who had been living on the outskirts of town. He was found at the abandoned railway station, his body slumped over an old rusted bench. Sam was an ex-con who had once claimed to know the town's darkest secret, a claim that most had dismissed as the ramblings of a drunk. But was there truth to his words? It wasn't until Emma Lewis, the psychic, disappeared that the townspeople truly panicked. Her final message had been a cryptic warning. The ghost killer is not what it seems. Her disappearance was followed by a chilling note found in her house, scrawled in red ink, "You're next." It was unclear if it was her own blood or someone else's. Driven by obsession, Detective Richard Monroe, who had been investigating the case from the start, delved deeper into the victims' lives. He discovered a connection that had remained hidden. Years ago, all the victims had been part of a secret society that practiced rituals to summon spirits. The rituals were supposed to bring them power and protection, but something had gone horribly wrong. The spirit they had summoned had not left. It had stayed, biding its time, growing stronger with each death. Two suspects emerged as potential masterminds behind the ghost killer's dark deeds. Evelyn Carter, a local historian and one of the original members of the secret society. Evelyn had lost everything after the group disbanded and was rumored to have a deep knowledge of the occult. Could she be using the spirit as a weapon, seeking revenge against those who abandoned her? Father Marcus, the town's priest who had always seemed overly interested in the case. His church was built over the ruins of an old pagan altar, a fact that had remained hidden until Monroe discovered it. Could he be using the hauntings as a means to frighten the townspeople back to the church, manipulating fear to his advantage? The last letter found at the doorstep of Monroe's house was the most chilling yet. The truth is darker than you think. I am always watching. Who or what is truly behind the ghost killer's terrifying spree? Is it a vengeful spirit that has returned for revenge, or is someone using the town's fear as a mask for sinister intentions? Share your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories that blur the lines between the living and the dead.